Most people assume that productive gardening begins with tools. Shovels, hoes, tillers, raised beds and irrigation systems are treated as prerequisites. Yet, for most of human history, none of these existed. Still, food was grown reliably, even in marginal landscapes. The method behind that success is older than agriculture as an industry and, honestly, simpler than modern gardening advice allows. It relies on placement, timing, and biological cooperation rather than force. Once understood, it becomes clear why this tool-free method worked then and, well, still works now. This is not about abandoning knowledge. It is about returning to fundamentals that modern systems often ignore. Why early growers avoided tools by necessity and by design. Before metal tools were common, early growers worked with what the land offered. Digging deeply was exhausting and quite often counterproductive. Soils, especially in wild landscapes, already possessed layered structure, fungal networks, and moisture pathways. Disturbing them destroyed fertility rather than improving it. Instead of reshaping the land, early growers adapted to it. They learned where plants naturally thrived and expanded those conditions gently. This led to a method based on surface interaction rather than excavation. The core of the method was simple. Seeds were placed directly onto or just beneath the soil surface in areas already showing biological activity. These areas included the edges of clearings, beneath leaf fall zones, near decomposing plant matter, and along animal paths where soil was lightly disturbed by hooves rather than blades. Organic material already present, such as fallen leaves, grasses or old stems, was pulled aside by hand, seeds were placed, and the material was returned on top. No digging occurred, no soil was turned. The soil beneath remained intact. Early growers observed that disturbed soil dried out faster, crusted over, and became harder with time. Undisturbed soil retained moisture, remained cooler, and supported stronger root systems. This understanding predates modern soil science, but aligns perfectly with it. By leaving soil structure intact, water infiltration improved naturally. Mycorrhizal fungi remained connected. Worms and insects continued their work uninterrupted. The garden functioned as an extension of the surrounding ecosystem rather than a replacement for it. Seeds require 3 things to germinate. Contact with soil moisture and temperature stability. The primitive method, interestingly enough, satisfied all 3. Surface mulch moderated temperature, while undisturbed soil retained moisture below. Seeds were placed just deeply enough to anchor them while still accessing warmth. In many cases, seeds were lightly pressed into soil by foot or hand, not buried. Rain did the rest. This reduced seed loss and prevented rot caused by overly wet conditions. Fertility came from continuous surface feeding rather than concentrated inputs. Leaves, stems, food scraps and crop residues were left where they fell or moved short distances. Rather than feeding plants directly early, growers fed the soil surface. Microorganisms converted organic matter into plant-available nutrients at a pace roots could absorb. This eliminated nutrient burn and reduced pest pressure, since plants grew steadily rather than rapidly. Weeds thrive in disturbed soil. By leaving soil intact and covered, the primitive method suppressed opportunistic species. Existing vegetation was not cleared completely. Instead, it was thinned selectively, allowing crops to share space without competition. This approach favoured perennial weeds with deep roots over aggressive annuals. Over time, balance emerged rather than domination by any single species. Water followed biology. Mulch slowed evaporation. Undisturbed soil absorbed rainfall efficiently. Roots penetrated deeper, accessing stored moisture long after surface layers dried. In dry regions, planting was timed to seasonal rains rather than forced by calendars. In wetter areas, elevated natural ground was preferred to prevent waterlogging. These decisions replaced infrastructure with observation. This method can be used immediately, even in small gardens. Choose an area with existing plant life rather than bare soil. Pull aside surface material by hand, place seeds or transplants, and return the cover. Avoid digging, rototilling, or turning soil. Add organic matter only to the surface. Let worms and microbes do the mixing. Observe moisture levels beneath mulch rather than watering on schedules. Adjust planting density based on how plants respond, not spacing charts. Plants grown this way develop stronger root systems and better stress tolerance. They are not dependent on constant input. They adapt to their environment rather than collapsing when conditions shift. This resilience is why the method persisted across cultures and climates for thousands of years. Industrial agriculture required predictability, speed, and scalability. Tool-free methods resisted standardization. They demanded awareness rather than control. As a result, they were labeled primitive rather than precise. Now, as soil exhaustion and input costs rise, these methods regain relevance. If this guide helped you see how food can be grown without tools, disturbance, or dependency, support Hydrohaven by subscribing, sharing this episode, and helping keep proven ancient growing knowledge alive for the future.